Let's work on today's technique. For more information, click on the link below. Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. So you've aligned everything up, and we're going to take our removable stitch markers here and use them to put these pieces together. Now, this doesn't state that in your pattern. I'm just suggesting that you go ahead and use this in this instance. They will be used later on. So what I do is I clamp these all together, and then I have my seams nice and aligned, and I know that they're not going to go anywhere, and I can use this to join all of them at the same time. Go ahead and cut your yarn that you want to use, and you can see I've started stitching one together here, and you can see that the seam is not noticeable. This is a flat seam. It's going to look the same on the back as it is on the front, and you want to pick a color that you've used most often. That happens to be the contrast B. This is the light teal. In this case here, it was a Sonoma on the other blanket on the main pattern. So use whatever you use, have the most color of, and that's going to be this sort of checkerboard pattern here. So wherever you see the seed stitch, that's the color you're going to use. Get your wide-eye tapestry needle out, and you're going to want about 3 times the length of your seam that you're going to make. So pull out enough yarn and then go ahead and cut that yarn, and we're going to start making this flat seam together. Okay, thread your needle. I'm going to go to the end where we've got about 6 inches, and I'm going to hold on to this at the bottom of week 2 panel, and the bottom left stitch down here. Okay, and then pull through all that extra yarn. I'm holding on to that 6-inch portion, so I've got a nice tail. And then we're going to switch over to the left, which this is week 1, and do the same thing. Go up through that bottom stitch, and I'm kind of pushing down on that 6-inch part so that we don't pull it out. Okay, and now I pulled that, and then I'm going to go back up. This is the only time I'm going to go back up through this first stitch here, and this will kind of lock that in. It's not a formal knot, but it's going to lock that in so our tail doesn't get away from us. So we're going to pull that up, not too tight. All right, now we're going to be working from right to left and left to right. So if you start on the right, then you're going to go to the left and back and forth. We're working on the top of the stitches, and we're just going to be picking up these little purl bumps here. See these purl bumps here on the very edge? And on this part that's a week 2, you're going to be picking up these outward purl bumps here as well. So it's the same thing, and we're not going to be pulling tight in the end, so just going to keep your tension nice and loose but firm, so it's not going to be like super open, but don't pull it too tight because then it'll pucker too much. So we've started on the right. We're going to pick up this stitch here and pull all the way through. Okay, and then go over to the right. We're on the left, so we go to the right. Pull that through, and then go over to the left and pick up and pull all the way through. And that's really it. We're going to be working along, joining this entire length of these 2 panels here. You want to make sure that it's not so much that when you pull apart it's going to be seen, but you want to pull it a little bit tight here, and it's going to be a nice even join. Go to the right here, and you're going to basically be crisscrossing like that. Now you may have a part where say you have too many seed stitches, you have too many purl bumps on this side but not enough on this side. In that case, you would want to what's called ease the fullness. You don't want this to pucker because it maybe has too many stitches, and you're left in the end when you get up to this point up here, you don't want it to be off. Okay, so we don't want the design to look like this and then we're left with something uneven. So what we do in that case is we actually end up pulling together 2 stitches at a time. In that case, we'll pick up 1, 2, and pull it in. and then go to the other side. And that's really all you would do in that case. Let's jump over to this other one that I've been continuing on. This is what it looks like on the other panel. Same thing. Once you get that other side done, you're going to move over to the right over here, and you're going to do the same thing. So this one's been working back and forth, and let's say that I had gotten into this spot where I've got too many of this stitch here. I can go ahead, and because I'm not too tight, I could go ahead and pull this out, and I've determined that I need to have those line up a little bit more. I would pull that completely out, and then I would make sure I go through both of these at the same time in order to fix that. So this is how you kind of problem solve on the go. So we're going to pick those two up instead, and then go over to the left. And now we're back on track, and we'll be picking up on the right. And then when we have, it's a sewing term called to ease the fullness. So we've made that a nice join here. It's nice and even where the boxes are going to be all lined up. All right, so continue on that flat seam and meet me back up for the next section. When you come to the end of your section, you're just going to continue going back and forth just as we have. I'm out of the purl bump, so I'm just going to go through this last spot here on the end, on the cast off, and do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to go back around through that same spot again to lock it in. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.